the next tech trend is the new MacBook Pro. So in the past episodes, we have talked about the M1 chip and how it was on like the new MacBook Air, the MacBook Pro 13, 14, I don't know the inches, 13 inches, 14 inches, both
13 inches.
13-inch MacBook. Now,
Who cares? I'm kidding.
now the 16-inch MacBook Pro didn't have the new M1 chip, and people were surprised. So now there's leaks out there that the new one is gonna come with a chip called M1X, I believe. So, Phil, do you wanna give us some detail on the new MacBook Pro 16-inch?
So it's supposed to come out in the third quarter, so we're expecting it to see near September or
Okay.
October. Those ones.
Whoa.
What happened?
Wait, actually, it's supposed to come out this year?
Yeah, it's coming out this year.
Yeah, the M1X. Yeah.
Whoa. Okay. All right.
Because
Alright.
M1 already came out last year, right? As Shashwood mentioned, we were expecting the M1 to come with the 16 inch as well,
Mhm.
but they held back from that. So there's a 14 inch as is mentioned and a 16 inch. 16 inch is the one that has all the info out so far, or the leaked info, I guess, in a way. So the M1 chip had 8 cores. The 16 inch is speculated to have 16 cores, and there's some leaked info to validate that. I believe.
Yep.
Another thing was again, M1X chip is supposed to be the fastest chip. It's supposed to beat any Intel chips, and it directly competes with i9. And it's supposed to be, according to the benchmarks and stuff that people are doing, even though the chip does not exist to general public yet, it's supposed to be like, it's supposed to top everything, whether it be AMD, Intel, and yeah. So that's one of the recent things that I've been seeing. And yeah, I mentioned the 16 cores, right?
Yep.
It's a lot of cores.
A lot of course. A lot of course. A lot of course.
A lot of.
And another thing was that the touch bar could be disappearing this year.
Ooh.
So that is in my point of view, it's a super good improvement for Apple to be taking, because a lot of people, including myself, have as a MacBook user, has been against this touch bar concept that they introduced back in 2016.
Why do you hate the touch bar?
Okay, there's a couple things. The batteries are located near there. The fan is located near there too, right? And a screen display of this sort heats up that area of the laptop, right? And MacBooks are known to have, the generation that I bought it in 2019. In 2020, they fixed the thermal throttling and the thermal issues, but up until this year, like heating up is a big issue. Like with me personally, if I touch anywhere near my touch bar, it's burning hot right now, and I'm not running anything except for.
We definitely heard you touch that.
Oh, really?
Sorry,
It's okay.
I don't know. I have a mic down there, but okay. But yeah, so that's one of the things. And another thing that they have been talking about is the potential return of the ports that MacBooks had previously. So currently, like my MacBook Pro has 4 USB-C ports. MacBook Airs have 2 USB-C ports, and people have been requesting Apple to bring in like 6 to 8 USB-C ports on the 16-inch due to the increase in space, right, across the sides of the laptop, side panels of the laptop. But there is speculation and leaked information that there could be a return of HDMI, SD card reader, as well as a potential USB. No, I'm not sure about the USB part. I know HDMI and SD card reader. Those are 2 things I've seen so far of that making a return.
Ain't nobody using an SD card reader these days.
Yeah.
I have no clue who will be, but no, I think production people do, bro. 16-inch is not made for regular users. That's the thing. Like, who walks around with a 16-inch laptop? Think about that. Like, portable.
Is it meant to be like more professional way?
Professional,
to be
yes,
16-inch?
super professional, yeah.
I see.
Because like, think about it. Like, if like from you both have laptops. Like, would you prefer to walk around with your 13 or 14-inch laptops or a 16-inch laptop? Yes, it's more space and stuff, but in terms of portability in a uni environment too, right? Walking around with a 16-inch laptop is just added on weight.
It's
for
the
no
easiest way to get robbed.
Yeah.
Yes,
That too. That's a factor.
But yeah, so bringing back ports would obviously require a thicker laptop. So that would be something, I don't know if it's weird, but like it's something I'm looking forward to, because they're also talking about the design factor of it being similar to the new iPhone 12, the more rounded and like straight edges and stuff like that.
Yeah,
More like boxy. It's going to be more
like
boxy.
curve box, like yeah, curvy boxy look.
Yeah.
It's kind of mind-boggling
Yeah.
that with the iPhones they want to go portless, but with their best top of the line MacBook they want to go more ports. I
No, but like
guess
people, as Philip mentioned, a lot of people were requesting for more ports. I've seen Philip's laptop. It has two
yeah,
holes on the side, and they called it a laptop. Like what? It doesn't have enough
All right.
ports.
Four
I'm sorry. It
holes. All
okay.
right.
It doesn't have enough ports. Like you can agree for that too.
No. Another thing they did is, guys, that even with their M1 chip on the MacBook Pros, they reduced the 4 ports to 2 ports. So if I were to go and buy a 13-inch, my same specs and everything, my ports would decrease from 4 to 2. So they're what obviously Apple is a marketing genius. They don't need to market much as well. They're a household name company, right? What they're doing is they're reducing the ports, right, to drive more traction and drive more of the audience or the consumers towards the bigger inches, because that's not, because why would you have a 13-inch and a 14-inch laptop out there
yeah,
by the same company? It just doesn't make sense. A 1 inch
You're
difference,
right. You're
right?
right.
So 13-inch is gonna, from what I'm speculating from all the news I'm reading, is that 13-inch, whether it be Air or Pro, is gonna have the 2 ports, right? And the regular 8 cores, which is more than enough for a laptop. And then for a professional laptop, I'll say that, right? And the 14 and 16-inch is going to come with the maybe I'm not sure about the 14-inch coming with the 16 cores, but there could be a possibility. Those two will come with 16 cores and maybe 4 ports and an HDMI and whatever other things that speculations are out there or leaked information's out there for.
that's kind of crazy to think about how a company like I think they want to satisfy all every consumer at this point, right? By having different variations. But yeah,
Yeah, but when you say that, but
Mhm.
then again, going back to the point that Philip just mentioned, if they're taking away ports from the 13, is that, as Philip meant, it's only driving more people to the 14. That's again constraining people from like the size. They have to get the 14 now. They
That's a
can't get the
business strategy
13 anymore.
to making more money.
That's a business strategy. See, the thing is this: iPhones went from $1,000 to 1,500, then 2,000, now 2,500, depending on the storage and everything, right? People still buy it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, finance or like the financial constraint could be mentioned, but people are still, even if you're broke, people are still willing to credit themselves, build up a credit just so that they can buy an iPhone, right? So Apple has so much power in the market, right? For them to be able to manipulate anything, because they started with this no port crap,
Yep.
right? Of them taking out all the ports and making it all USB-C. Now I can't speak for every Windows company, but I'm seeing more and more Windows laptops coming with USB-C ports.
You're right. You're right.
Right? They're switching over. At least they have one or two, right, along with the other
Mhm.
ports.
Yeah.
So they have the power to do that. They even did that with the iPhones. They took out the headphone jack, a company that made fun of the headphone jacks disappearing, right? Now doesn't have
Charging
headphone jacks.
bricks.
The charging bricks. Again, the company, I'm not gonna mention the company's name because someone might get triggered here. the company that released an ad joking about the charging brick now not being there with Apple iPhones is no longer gonna have a charging brick even with their phones. So
Nacho, what do you think about that?
being a market leader has a lot of power and perks, I would say.
Yeah. No. Just to clear up, the headphone jack fund was like by Google, not Samsung, right? But like still, right? I agree. Like Apple is a market driver, and because of them being so successful, everyone is gonna want to follow that path, right? In the sense that if they at a point if they don't follow that path, they're like looked down upon. So I guess that comes with a market leader being a market leader, right?
If we also had a discussion, I think it was like 3 or 4 podcasts ago, like when we were talking about flip phones or like folding phones, right? Where one of us raised the question, what is like the limit? When do we say stunned, like no more, right? So I feel like with the current technology and the advancements we've made, I feel like we're lingering around that limit, right? There isn't much that you can do with a new device if we see like the 11 and the 12 in the iPhones. Only real thing they did was introduce the LiDAR technology, right?
Yep.
Other than that, it's again the constant increase in the A chips, the A bionic chips and whatever. right? So I feel like being able to flip back and forth or switch back and forth between the different technologies, or like the us, like technically, because it's like us climbing a ladder, so being able to take steps down and up, right, for a market leader company is the only way they can keep selling more and more products. Because at some point we will question and ask, why would I want to get the 20 or the iPhone 50 or the iPhone 15, right, when I already have the iPhone 12 that looks the same, does the same thing, just has a difference in this processing chip.
Yeah. Apple's good at that though, right? Not updating that
Yeah,
much, but still getting people to buy their phone.
people to buy
Right?
it.
I guess
Yes.
that comes with like them being established, especially in like the North American market, right? Because the North American market is like they control this market, right? In the sense that they can do anything they want, and legit, like they will still sell most phones, right? They will still sell their laptops. They can have like no ports at all the next year, but they'll still sell their phones, right? Like with the charging brick, like everyone was like, I was hearing like concerns all over the place, like oh they're not gonna have charging bricks, so I'm not buying the iPhone. But next thing you know, it's like the most sold phone in the world and stuff, right? So I don't think that makes a difference.
It's the clout factor.
Yep, I agree. Comes with being a market leader, I guess. Again, right? That's the whole
Mm-hmm.
point of just being
Yep.
a leader. And they like to give them like the credit. They have stood as a market leader for a really long time. It's like so some companies won't be able to do that. So like for example, taking like BlackBerry stuff, BlackBerry and Nokia, they started this smartphone kind of thing, right? They could have easily been at Apple's
Yeah.
place, but look where they are now, right? Compared to Apple, or like someone like Samsung who comes in after and takes those companies' place. So you have to give credit to
Right.
Apple for sustaining for at least this long, right?
Are you, any of you guys, planning on possibly switching over to MacBooks?
No, none of us are gonna go for that.
No, not personally.
you're gonna be our only man guy on this podcast. I'm telling you, watch.
Yeah,
You never know. People change minds.
If we have another guest that is a MacBook fanatic, that will be a date that is going to be marked on my calendars and on our Stark websites. So
Oh man.
I think with that note we can end the episode, right, guys?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you would like to listen to more of our stuff, check us out at Stark Enterprises on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple, and Google Podcast. If you have any questions you're dying to ask, or have a guest idea that you want to see featured on the podcast, shoot us a DM at _Stark Enterprises. Want to get to know us and our projects a bit better? Check out our website in the link on our Instagram bio. With that, I am Eben Matthew. With me was Philip Thomas and Shashar Chauhan, and this has been Stark Talks.